Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to show you how to paint a unit of Imperial Royal Guard. Now, I have painted some red Royal Guards before on my channel, but again, this is going to be trying to paint it quickly and easy for people who don't want to take a lot of time to do it. I am going to use a little bit of shading technique this time. I grabbed my wet palette here, and I have these different reds on here. Now this is from when I just started to paint a Marvel Crisis Protocol miniature, the Hulkbuster armor for Iron Man. And I'm going to use the same painting technique as I did on him as these Royal Guards to kind of make it just a little bit different colors. So as you can see here, we have a more blackish red, just kind of moving up to brighter red. So I'm only going to start like with this color here. And we're going to utilize the already primed black miniatures here. To give you an example of what I'm talking about, here is my work in progress Marvel Crisis Protocol miniature, the Hulkbuster armor for Iron Man. So I kind of started him at this angle here. I have nice bright reds here on the front, nice gold color here. Obviously, I have a lot more work to do, but the gist of it is as you can see when I turn here, I have more darker reds in here, and they transition underneath the arms here, and in the back here I start turning, the gold starts going a little darker, in the back here more dark red. You can look here, it's a lot better of an angle, really nice and dark in here, and it just has this nice good transition. Okay, and this is all done by hand, not with a spray paint or anything. It's just takes a lot more time. I'm going to kind of show you how you can kind of do something similar to your miniatures here for Star Wars Legion. And I'm not going to be going for that same type of long-term technique there, but I'm going to kind of utilize this color palette here to get the models just a little bit different than what I painted already on my channel previously with Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. So we're going to go ahead and time ourselves again. See how many times I can knock down my timer this time. I have to get a different one. We'll utilize some of the different colors here to hold that up. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a Khorne Red. Any type of darker red will do. Also getting some black on your color palette to mix that in, but we're going to try to utilize the priming of these Royal Guard. So go ahead and get that ready here. Put that on your wet palette. Make sure, and I'm going to use a bigger brush because I want to coat these models with this darker red, and I'm going to go back over the smaller brush and get a little bit more lighter red. Remember to add some water to that, not too much, just a little bit. We don't want it too thick. And it'll really help with the black priming underneath, make it even darker in those shadowy areas. Okay, let's go ahead and reset this from our last video here. Kind of got my camera set up in a different angle, so hopefully I don't hit it as much. Okay. Go ahead and let's just grab the leader here. All right. So I'm just going to apply liberally here. Just nice and fast. As you can see, I might have got a little bit too much water in here. So I'm going to add a little bit more paint. Can kind of see it bubbling up there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some more paint here and put it back on my wet palette so it's not as wet. And it's rather you go a little bit too much than too thick. So now I'm going to come back over here, and now it's applying much better. And this model, you don't have to worry too much about it. Why don't you just go in there, nice and quick, like apply it here in the front, everywhere. This color I want just everywhere, you know. Kind of just get inside here. Get their visor and their gun. It doesn't even matter. We'll come back to that later. You can leave some of the spots inside black if you'd really like to. This is just our base coat of red, just nice and fast here. As you can see, I might just need to thicken it up a little bit, but like I said, if there's some spots that we don't get, we're going to be covering up with different colors and going back over it and applying, you know, that dirty brown color to the feet for our sandy basing that we've done with our scout troopers to match the army. With our brush strokes, just make sure and coat the entire cape downwards so the brush strokes are seen, not as evident. Okay. We're going to be applying a lot of paint to this model, so you don't want to be too thick. Alright. So we're going to call that done. So just about 2.5 minutes to just base coat one of these. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick another video here, time lapse. Alright, so after that, give the models just a couple minutes to dry. And as you can see, it's got this nice darker red on it because of that black undercoat. It's a lot darker than, you know, what the paint is when it's wet. So I really like where these are. You just slap those paint on their entire model if you want, or if you want to do the boots a different color, the arms and the legs inside, that's fine. But I'm just going to kind of show you now. I've got this nice big red section here. We're going to go ahead and do a little brighter red now, Mephiston Red. We'll shake that up and add it to your wet palette. You can see it's a lot brighter of a color, so I'm going to put it over here. Okay. And you can put some here in the middle. Wash your brush real quick. Doesn't have to be too clean. Grab some of your darker red here and start mixing it in a little bit. And you can drag it over here and mix it a little bit here. Okay. I'm still going to use this, you know, bigger brush here. We'll just grab one of these here. I'm going to start looking from the top here and just apply it on the entire miniature up here on the top of the model. Don't worry too much about the shading in yet. It'll come. Just apply it nicely on the top here. It's okay if it's not perfect yet. Now you don't have to get the entire face if you don't want to. You can leave some darker spots in there. Wherever the brush hits, it's kind of nice. So I'm just kind of applying it on the top here. Maybe a little bit down the cape here like this. I'm going to apply a little bit right here on its leg. It's kind of sticking out a little bit more, maybe some lights touching that. A little bit over here. And on the front of the cape, just a little bit, just like that. I'll do a little edge on this, all the way down to the cape. Maybe just turn your brush sideways and go like this a little bit on the edges of the cape. Okay, so I kind of like this here. Now remember, it's going to dry, it's going to be a little wet. So it looks a little brighter right now. Really get this top portion, okay? Wherever you want the light to hit your model the most. I'm not going to worry too much about under here or in there. I'm going to get his leg and boot again. I'm going to call this, kind of done. And see, this entire time I forgot to use my timer again. All right, so I'll let that run here while I talk for a couple minutes here. And I'll go ahead and wash my brush. So just really utilizing your colors on that brighter red that I put down here, put some in the middle, and then dragged it over into my bigger spot here. Really get this nice darker red here to transition up. Kind of hard to see. There we go. That's a little better color. Now as this miniature is drying here in real time, it'll start to really blend in by itself. So that's kind of why you want to wait to dry your models before you move on to the next step of shading in different reds, because it'll give you an idea of how exactly, bright or dark you need to go. So the back of the cape's already starting to dry up really well, and you can hardly tell now where I've stopped the brighter red and gone down the dark. Now you can kind of tell it's a little wet here still, but it's really transitioning well on its own. Nice pop of red here. Of course, on the top of the model here, it's a lot brighter. So now everything, you're getting shadows in automatically. Okay. Probably giving the timer a couple minutes here, about almost 2 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and pause. We'll add some more time on the end like we did last time. Alright, so I did 2 coats of the same color twice on the tops of the models. So they're nice and bright. Everything else is a little darker here. You can tell I got the leg a little bit. The inside of the cape is darker. It's darker down here. A little lighter on the tops. Obviously way bright on the top. And as it's drying, it's going to continue to blend in really nice. Now I got some black spots here. That's okay. It gives us some shadow to keep. Maybe it's torn. You don't have to be perfect with this. It's just quick. Got his leg a little brighter. His arms, top of his head. The leader unit here. And obviously the heavy. I really like this cape a lot. It's just so much detail. And darker, a little lighter up here. So again, these are just 2 colors so far. Just different shading techniques. You could just paint it red and put some black in the visor and paint the weapons and you'll be done. But we want to just do a little bit extra. Alright. So now I'm going to utilize this same red down here. Now I'm going to add in some brighter red, Evil Sunz Scarlet. I'm going to put it right over here, blend this in together. And we're going to do the same type of thing, but we're going to use a little smaller brush. We'll go ahead and put that right on there. Nice liberal amount. Call that good. Water your brush down. Grab some more of the Mephiston Red. Go Go ahead and put that down next to your other color here, just like before. What you're going to do is drag some of this brighter stuff right over here and kind of bring it out. A little bit more brightness. There we go. That's a good color there. Maybe a little bit more of the darker red if you got it too bright. That's a good transition. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and continue to use this brush. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start the timer this time. Knock down my timer, there's the first one. Now go ahead and look at the leader here. This is very bright. Now don't be alarmed if I put it down. See here on the shoulder, it's like, oh my gosh, it's way too bright. It's gonna dry in, so I'm just gonna get the tops of it, and the shoulder and the head of the helmet here, okay? And then drag it down here. I'm trying to avoid the neck area too much. And then I'm gonna just kind of do my side of my brush and drag it over here like this. That's okay if it's, you know, not everywhere you want and it's not exactly on the neck. Just leaving some spots open there. I'm gonna get to kind of a top-down version here. Kind of just bring it down a little bit on his face. I know his gun's not gonna be red, but I'm just gonna just highlight that a little bit there. Get the top of his knee, his boot, just enough like that. Side of his glove. I'm just going to drag down this highlight just a little bit on some of these capes here, just like that. And it's going to dry in. It's going to be really nice. Just get his shoulders again a little bit. It's okay to apply a little bit more. Got to trust the wet paint. Okay, so I've applied it here. You know, I'm gonna side my brush, bring it down here a little bit. You know, if you feel like I got a little much, we're gonna come back in here in just a second. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside. And we're gonna do the other ones here. After doing a couple layers of highlights on the time lapse, you can kind of see, you know, I got my red here on my cape. I might have got a little too much brown here, so we'll come back and fix that, but it's starting to dry a lot better now. You can kind of see how it really is starting to pop here. Look at the top. It really got that nice dark essence to the model, and it really starts to show the shadows. And just have fun with it, play with it a little bit. You'll get better with practice. Really like showing the elbow here and the cape. You know, getting the leg out a little bit and the top of the helmet. You know, this cape looks really good. I like it a lot. I've got my darkness here because it's blocking it out. This one here, I didn't do any of the front really, just a little bit of leg because he's covering up most of the sunlight. Back of his cape. So it's really fun. You know, so we've done 3 different colors now of red. We're gonna now just use, I'm gonna go back a little bit. Sorry, see? We're gonna use some of the black. We're going to stick some of the black right here. It doesn't take much. We're going to take our brush here, dip it in the black, We're going to put it right here on our wet palette. Not too much, just a little bit. Wash your brush out completely before dipping it back in your red. Or just better yet, use a different brush. If you need to get some more of your Khorne Red, the dark red that we started out with, I'm going to put a little bit right here. And then I'm going to drag it over here a little bit. Drag a little bit of black. Start mixing it up a little bit. See, it can turn dark pretty quick compared to the original color right here. See that difference there? And that's good. I'm going to get the rest of that red off my brush. Mix it into it. A little bit more black. Okay. I'll grab a model here. I'm going to do the edges down here. You can see that color here is a little better. Just kind of down here near the bottom. Again, it's wet, so it's going to dry a little bit differently, but you can kind of go up in some spots so it's not all too uniform. Just kind of go in those black spots there a little bit. This is going to blend in really well. You can kind of go on the ridge a little bit if you got too much of that bright red. Oh, sorry. Got my timer, guys. Cheating. All right. I'm going to come to the front, do a little bit down here again. I'm going to get up in here, really in these crevices. This darker red really adds some good depth to it too. Underneath the gloves here, you can turn them all upside down if you want. Get the edge down here, dark red. As you can see, as it's starting to dry over here a little bit, it's really making it nice and dark, and really adds that other color really fast when you have this darker color down here. Okay. I'll let the timer go just a little bit here while I talk and not paint. Now you don't have to do this other color, but again, we're going to come back and do some dry brushing of that sand. So we're going to probably be covering up most of this, but this gives you a good depth here of the model. You know, it's red, but now it really just starts to pop. So if we look at this other model here, that has not had it done yet. I know it's a little wet still in the front there, so let's look at the back. You can really start to tell that darkness. Obviously it's not required, but it just kind of gives that extra shadowy feel to it. All right, I'll probably run the timer enough here. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other three models on time lapse. All right, after that step of darkening, you can really see how much improvement it is on these models. It's really cool. It's really bright from the top, really dark from the bottom. Our next step here is going to be doing one last bit of red, okay? That's going to be the brightest one yet. This is going to be definitely just a small amount. So now we're going to go fully with our Evil Sunz Scarlet. That amount right here we put, no mixing at all. Go ahead and start my timer. I'm going to grab a different brush this time. Just a smaller tip brush. Go ahead and get it in there. Go ahead and grab the model here. We're just going to do a little bit of highlighting here. So the tips of the gloves here. Up here on the shoulder. On top of the head a little bit here. And this shoulder. And just a little bit of the glove here. Just like that. When it dries, it'll really just kind of add that extra little bit of pop to it. Do that to these guys here. To the top of the head. Shoulder, and I'm going to just kind of follow the arm down. And this shoulder here. As we're looking down here. Okay. Grab the next guy, do the same thing. Top of the head, the shoulder. Follow the arm here. Same thing over here. Top of his glove. Call that one good. Do the same thing on him. Just really gives that model extra boost of how bright it is up there. And then it also makes the brightness on the boot not look as bright because it's a different red shade. I'll go back over here and just make sure I got enough on these guys. Okay. This will finish up our red here. No more painting red. Okay. Now if you kind of look here, we've really got some great definition going on with these models. Now you can take this shading a step further and even do more brighter and darker, spend more time shading, but this is a nice, quick, and easy way to start shading if you've never done it before. Go ahead and pause. Wash your brush. All right. So now we're gonna go with our black step, okay? Go ahead and grab your special container here for our black and our known oil wash mix. We're going to get it in the visor cracks here. Go ahead and mix that up. Grab your brush here. Dip it in the black. Put a little bit here in the corner. Sorry, hit the camera again, guys. I do think it's working better over this angle, though. Don't have to see my entire thumb and hand in the window, which was annoying. And get our known oil here. Get this nice mix here. Look at that. That's good. If you don't have known oil, you can always just water down your black with plain old water. Or you could just use plain known oil if you don't want to mix. It's fine. Alright, so you want to grab a brush that's nice and tiny here. I'll go ahead and start the timer. So just get that brush kind of thick on there a little bit. Grab one of these guys. Now, you just kind of have to be patient with yourself and just slightly tap it in the middle there. Now see, I messed up and got over, but you just take your thumb and wipe. Wipe. Now, you got it all inside there. Didn't mess up any of your red. Go ahead and do the other ones here. This takes quite a bit of practice. Go ahead and wipe. There we go. Use another one. Obviously you can use a thinner brush. Maybe not put as much liquid on it as I did. You just kind of want to let the watery substance do most of the work for you. Just want to wipe it away. Got that nice visor in there. Really simple to do. You really just mess it up, just wiping it away. That's why I like to water it down, so it's easy to do. So now that I got all their black visors on, I'm going to go ahead and use this same brush and the rest of this liquid here. Let's go ahead and paint all of their weapons here. Watch out for the gloves unless you want to paint them black, but I don't. You can do all sorts of color combinations here, but we're going for simple, tabletop ready in just a few minutes. Get underneath. Now some people worry about the bending in the soft plastic. These are the earlier Legion models where you weren't using hard plastic. A little bit of hot water will do wonders, even after you painted it. Okay, so I got that all on there. I got his visor. Don't worry, we're going to come back and dry brush these weapons after they're dry. Really make them stand out too. Okay, we'll go here with this small little brush in between his thumb and his finger, then you can go faster down. And you can paint these whatever color you want, you know, make them spend more time painting it different silvers or whatever you'd like. Okay. Now this goes up into here, so it's a little hard. Have a steady hand. See, I got a little bit here. So I'm gonna take my thumb, wipe, grab your paper towel, just wipe it up and down. Now see, I got some on his glove. Wipe with your thumb, other finger. And you can wash your brush with water. Come back in here with a little bit of water. Really just make it wet here. Dry your brush. Come back in and pick up that wetness. So now I'm really spreading the black around. That's okay. Come back in here and just slowly absorb it. I'm gonna get a bigger brush, absorb it up a little faster. And wipe with your thumb. Okay. See? If you screw up, it's all right. You can just come back in here and paint the rest of this black. I kind of got some of the black off over here. All right. If it really was bothering you, you can come back with your, maybe the medium red color here. Just kind of fill that back in just a little bit. Give it that pop of red. Okay. And that's a little bit of red wetness there, so don't worry, it'll dry back down into it. And if you're too worried, you can come in with a little bit of your darker red that we had. And just kind of put some of that in here. Just kind of dulls it down. There you go. Right. Wash your brush. Let's continue on doing some more of the black here on the gun. See how liquidy that is? And that's just soaking in everywhere. It gives it some depth, but that's okay. Might have filled up my brush too much. Come over here. And the top here. Okay, I'll wash my brush and dry it. Stick it in the crevice here and pick up that black. Just let it soak it up. See that? No problem. Okay, so we got this guy's gun. Our red's still intact, so that's great. Move on to the next guy here. All right, so he's done. Now this one you can do a little bit different colors if you'd like. You know, it's a little electro staff, right? So you can maybe make your black a little purple if you'd like. I'm gonna go ahead and just paint it all black right now. You can do silver, whatever you'd like to do. I'm just gonna make it simple, fast, and easy. Feel free to spend as much time or less time as you want. This video is for people who just want to paint fast, get some tabletop miniatures ready. All right. Okay, and that guy's done. Go ahead and pause. So now we take a look here. Even just that black with the weapons really makes these guys stand out. All we're going to do now is dry brush the white onto their weapons. And then we're going to do our same basing as we did with our scout troopers in the previous video. I am going to just get a little bit of a purple for this guy real quick here. Now this isn't something you have to do. I'll grab just a little bit of this purple color here. Baraknar Burgundy. I'm not sure how you say that. Doesn't require too much here. Okay, go ahead and start the timer again. Take our electro staff guy. You can see it's a little wet here, but it's almost dry at the top. I'm gonna do the side of my brush and just highlight these areas here. And down here. Darkish purple color here. Add in some white, get a little bit of a brighter color. And just grab my white scar, I'm going to add it into my purple. Mix that up. So I kind of have like a grapish purple. Come back in here and just do the same thing like this. Doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of make you think that there's some electricity going on. Okay, just enough like that. If you think you got too much, wash your brush off. Come back over here to your black mix, non-oil. You can just kind of start to dab it and darken it a little bit in some of the areas so it's not as bright and obvious. Okay, there we go. And it looks great. Clean your brush off. All right. Go ahead and grab your Armageddon Dunes. Mix that up. Actually, it's back behind here. The one I actually used. Gotta have the same one. Alright. Armageddon Dust, not Dunes. The dunes are a little thicker texture. You can certainly use that, doesn't matter to me. Okay, we're gonna get our same used brush that we did last time. Maybe get a little water on it. Okay, grab your, go ahead and start the timer. Grab your miniature and just do it like last time. If you get it on the cape and stuff, that's okay. We're gonna go back and dust it up later. If you get it on your shoe, just wipe it off here a little bit. That's okay. It's the whole idea, so don't be afraid to come in here like that. Get a little bit more texture. Just kind of dab it on so it gets some different height to it. All right, and it's okay that I got it on the cape. We'll dust it up a little bit here, but go ahead and do a time lapse for the other ones. Alright, it's been the next day and these have had time to dry now with their bases. So we're going to go ahead and do some dry brushing here. Go ahead and grab your white scar, shake that up, get your nice brush here for dry brushing. Go ahead and dip it in there and just back and forth and on the paper towel until it completely is off of the brush. See, it's kind of leaving a mark there. Go ahead and move these miniatures out of the way so they don't get speckled. Go ahead and start the timer. So we're just going to do dry brushing on the weapon here, just a little bit like that, and in the middle here. Just like that. Okay, grab this one here, do the same thing. Little gun. And this weapon here. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more white on here. Brush it off on a paper towel. And then I'm going to dry brush the base, make some of that pop out a little better. Some of the ridges there. And same thing on this guy. And that's okay, I got some on this cape. We're gonna go back over with some dust and Xandri dust color and get that. I just think using a brighter color on the base really makes it stand out, rather than just using the same type of color to our dry brush. Okay. And that is all of those. We're going to go ahead and use our Xandri dust to dry brush. Just go ahead and wipe that on your paper towel until it starts to come off. Grab your miniature. We'll go ahead and start the timer. And we're just going to dry brush the back here of his cape. Feel free to get up there a little bit higher. Do some more dry brushing here. Alright. Kind of like that. Get your other guy. Dry brush on here. Okay, grab your next miniature and dry brush that. And your last one here. All right, I really like how these models have turned out. Go ahead and pause the timer there. So now if we look at that, nice and dusty here, really starts to blend the model in with the base. Really quite cool. And if you don't like something, you can go back and do a little bit more. If you got too much, you can go back and do some more red if you wanted, if you got somewhere you didn't want it. It's really cool. All right, now it's time to just go ahead and paint the bases here. We'll be right back. All right, we're going to use our black, paint the rims of the bases, and we'll be done. I like to make sure my hands are pretty dry. I'm going to touch the model and do the rim of the base. Okay. Well, that concludes this video. So just painted these Imperial Royal Guard in just a little over an hour. And just keep watching for upcoming videos as we finish this 800-point army. Looks like we have Shore Troopers, Bosk, and Emperor Palpatine left to paint. And then we'll be combining all of these miniatures that I've painted and giving them away, so stay tuned. All right, let's go ahead and look at the up-close footage. Thanks. Be sure to like and subscribe. Have a good day.